Hey there, it is a cold and chilly night. We are making a batch of beef stew together. I've got the quick cooker here heating up. I've already coated the 1.5 pounds of beef stew meat with some gluten-free flour, some salt and pepper, and I've browned it a little bit to get us started. Let me show you, whoops, that's popping. Let me show you what the inside of my quick cooker looks like so you can know when this happens to yours, it's normal. Do you see all that? Brown bits on the bottom? There was a time in my life that would have freaked me out and I would have thought, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so hard to clean up. It's not, because it's fond and it's going to come up. So let's chop an onion together. I'm gonna show you how to do it with a knife. Proper way to hold a chef's knife is like this. Wrap the 3 fingers on the bottom, thumb and forefinger up here so you've got a nice grip. Reach over the top, slice right to the bottom. I'm gonna turn this off for a little bit. And then what I like to do is take the tip of my knife and go almost about 3/4 of the way through. Let's see if you can see this. So curl your fingers, poke that knife, and however wide you want your pieces to be, make that your width, okay? And then turn the other way, and you're gonna have a perfect dice by doing it in that order. You can use your food chopper if you like. Sometimes I like to just chop with a knife. And it's good to know how to do that, right? Before I learned this, I think I learned this from Food Network, I used to just hack at an onion. And it's not very efficient, takes longer, and the more time you spend with an onion, the more likely you are to start crying. And we don't want to cry when we're making dinner. That's what those sappy Hallmark movies are for. Okay, so I've got the onions here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them into the pot. We're gonna let them cook a little bit. So just dump them all in. Just the juices from this onion is going to help bring that fond up. So it's going to taste really, really flavorful. So we'll just let that cook for a little bit. And I'm actually going to add just a touch of the broth in there to help loosen it up a little bit. Okay, got 2 big cloves of garlic. And I'm going to use my garlic press. Just put it in there with the peel. And I'm going to crush it right onto the mat for now. Garlic burns faster than onions, so I want to let my onions cook just a little bit before. If I wasn't here with all of you guys, I would just wait to press my garlic and do it all together. But because of time, and I don't want to bore you all, we're going to press it right here. So do you guys love using this garlic press? You know, there's other things you can do with it besides garlic. So we're heading into the holiday season. If you make sugar cookies, take a little ball of the dough and press it through here. And if you like to make faces, it can be like hair on your cookies with sugar cookie dough. So that's a great tip for your garlic press. All right, we'll give these onions a little stir, and then we're gonna get that polenta ready. Now I'm gonna use grits. Grits and polenta, I don't know. In my book, they're basically the same thing. So we're gonna make it easy because that's what I have on hand. And in this recipe, we're gonna stack cook. So the beef stew is gonna cook on the bottom, and then our polenta is gonna cook on top. I will post the recipe in a little bit, but it comes in the little cookbook that comes with your quick cooker. Very easy instructions to follow. Now, if you don't want to do polenta, you can put some potatoes in here. You can even put cauliflower. If you want to do mashed cauliflower, you can totally do that. So we need to grab 3 cups of hot water. I've got my tea kettle and my easy read cup. So we'll measure 3 cups of hot water. And the reason why you mix your grits or polenta with hot water is to prevent lumps. You don't want that. Okay, so let's grab a whisk. You're gonna just bring them in, 1 cup's worth. Just kind of stir it in nice and slow. And these are gonna cook while the beef stew is cooking. So that's pretty awesome. It's all in one pot. I don't know about you, but I like not having to clean too many dishes. So this takes care of all of that. Okay, that looks good. We'll put the lid on, and this silicone cover comes with your ceramic pot. Scooch this over. It's easier to put the lid on before you stick it on the rack. Just like that. All right, got this garlic now. I'm gonna stick that into the pot with the onions. And let's secure this over the top. So after this cooks, we'll stir in some Parmesan cheese. You can do cheddar if you prefer, and some butter. So that will be at the end. So this makes it really easy to lift in there. Okay, let's take a look here. Looks good. The onions are starting to soften. Let me show you so you can see. Okay, you can see they're softening. That fond in the bottom is starting to come up. So it's going to give lots of flavor. And as it finishes cooking, it's going to get even better. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I've got 1.5 cups of beef broth. Use the low sodium kind. Mine isn't actually low sodium, so I actually didn't use very much salt in the recipe to kind of compensate for that. So we'll throw that in, and then we'll add all of the beef. And this is going to be so tender. So if you've ever had beef stew that was tough and not much fun to eat, this isn't going to be that kind. It's going to be really flavorful. Okay, and then we're going to add some thyme. I almost forgot about that. Now, if you have fresh thyme, you can use it, or you can use some dry. So I just went to my flower bed, and I can't even believe it. I still have fresh herbs coming in my flower garden. So I'm going to use the fresh as long as I can. You can use dry, totally fine. Thyme adds a nice flavor, and I like it in chicken soup as well. And what I like to do is just kind of hold the stems and then just drag in the opposite direction. You can use our herb stripping tool if you want. I usually just use my fingers. Fingers are free, so we'll do that. We need about 1 tablespoon, and usually I don't even bother with mincing thyme. It's fine enough. I wish you guys could smell this. My whole area working here smells fresh herbs. It's so beautiful. Anyway, thyme is pretty small, so I don't worry too much about chopping it up. And if you have some of the little stalks that stay in there, don't worry. You can pull them out after they're done. Okay, so we got about 1 tablespoon of thyme. We'll throw that in. And we're ready to finish putting it all together. Now, the recipe calls for some peas and carrots, frozen peas and carrots at the end. I've got frozen peas. I don't have the blend, so I've just got some fresh carrots. I've gone ahead and cut, and I know I've probably got more than I need, but we really like them. So I just cut them into a dice, and I'll show this to you all one more time before we put it all together. And I'll add the frozen peas when it's done. So you don't add them at the beginning because they don't take any time to cook, but these carrots are raw, so that's why I went ahead and added them there. Okay, so there is the beef stew and the carrots. That gluten-free flour that's coating on the beef, when that cooks and it mixes in with the broth, it's gonna make a nice thick sauce, so it's gonna be super good. Okay, so next up, take your stand, set it right inside. Let me turn this off. We're gonna set it right inside, and then we'll take the ceramic pot and put it right over the top, so everything cooks together. Isn't that awesome? Okay, with your pressure cookers, you guys could probably start repeating this with me now, right? Make sure the gas gets pushed in all the way. If you ever see steam coming out on the edge of your pressure cooker, it means there's something wrong with your gasket and you don't have a nice tight seal. So make sure you do that. And then make sure your button is flush. So right now it's not flush. This is in the manual release position. So lift it up, and we'll stick it on there. And then let's look and let's see what the cookbook says. It says to turn the dial to beef pork. Man, I thought I had this memorized for all of you. Okay, so we're gonna turn the dial till it hits beef pork. And we're gonna hit time to reduce it to 20 minutes. And hit start. So when it's finished, I'm gonna let it do a natural release for 10 minutes. So when you're making this recipe, you need to start it about an hour before you want to eat. That allows for time to prep, time for it to come to pressure, time for it to cook, natural release, and then so from start to finish, it's about an hour. So this is going to be super tender from the pressure that's cooking there. When it comes out, I'll add my frozen peas, stir in some butter and Parmesan into the grits or polenta, and it'll be ready to serve. So I hope you learned how to make beef stew a little bit differently. If you have secret tips for your favorite beef stew, add it in the comments. Everybody loves to see that. And if you have somebody in your life who is cooking with a pressure cooker who might like to learn this recipe, forward it to them and share it with them so they can learn how to make great beef stew, because it does taste bright when you make it a certain way. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow.